Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie Barthel, and I'm going to be your MC for this afternoon. And before we get started, the biggest thing I want to do is to thank all of you for being here today. This is huge to have this many people out here. Our dedication today has been years in the works. When our memorial was built a couple years ago, we kept talking and dreaming about how exciting this day would be, and then COVID came. And it feels like it just delayed it and it pushed it to the point you're like, are we ever going to have it? So I am just so thankful on behalf of the Andover City Council, our mayor, and all city employees. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being patient with us through COVID that we can do this. And we are excited to honor all veterans today. So thank you. With that said, we want to make sure today is special for all of our veterans. We want to make sure every veteran, whether you're here or not here, feels welcome and feels honored. With that said, I would like everyone to remove their hats. We're going to take a moment of silence for all veterans who have fallen, are still missing in action, or are prisoners of war. At this time, I would like all active duty service members to stand. And let's give them a round of applause for thank them for what they do for our country, all active service. Also, I'd like every veteran in the audience that is not standing to at this time please stand. And let's give them a round of applause for what they have done for our country. Veterans are those people that understand each other more than anyone else. They understand the sacrifices and the things that you stepped away from in your life to serve our country. And those are things that's hard for other people that have not been in the military to understand. And that's what's so great about today is now we're amongst all other veterans who understand the sacrifices, who understands the service, and understands what was given for our country. So thank you. At this time, I would like everyone to stand, remove your caps, and we're going to have an opening ceremonies for our event.
Okay. Present arms. Okay, two. Okay, two. Okay, God. Okay, no, we have three. Wait. Okay,
we ask everyone to continue standing, and we're going to invite up Cheryl Lindorf to sing the national anthem to honor our veterans and America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow. Huge thank you to our local VFW for being out here today and partaking in our opening ceremonies. We greatly appreciate it. And also thank you to Cheryl for that wonderful rendition. Right now we have, everyone can be seated. We do have a few people that would like to say some words and who have been part of this community and have helped build this to what it is today. And I'm very honored to introduce our first speaker, Andover Mayor Sherry Buccola.
Thank you all for coming. This is the culmination of an 18-year project that I have the honor of presenting to the public, but by no means started with me. And this is the legacy of former council member Mike Knight. Back in 2004, when the street was going through, it was 152nd lane. And council member Knight said, we have this opportunity with a future through street that is going to go from Hanson all the way to Round Lake someday to really dedicate that memory to the veterans. So it became Veterans Memorial Boulevard. And along with that vision came the memorial concept. And it wasn't till recently that we built our public works facility here you see behind us that this area was then really developed into this vision. That started in 2004. I came on the council in 2009. And the only thing I really had to offer was flagpole, bench. We really need to make it bigger. Job well done to staff for their vision, their concept, and everyone that lent their ideas to this. This is just the foundation. It has plenty of opportunity to grow and design, and one of those future projects are bronze statues that we would like to add to it. As for me personally, as far as the armed services, I just want to thank each and every one of you here and those that couldn't be here. Among them is my son. He's a member of the National Guard. A year ago at this time, he was completing basic training and going through the forge. He is not here today because he is off at training. And that is what service and sacrifice is all about. Missing these moments in your community, with your family, with your friends. That's dedication. That's honor. And I appreciate your call to duty. I want to thank every one of you for coming today, and I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. If the veterans can please take a moment and flag me down, I'd love to meet each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We really appreciate that. And this has been an 18 years in progress and getting to where it's at today. Our next speaker I'd love to introduce is our current sheriff, who is also a veteran as with the Marines. Please help me in welcoming Anoka County Sheriff James Stewart.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today and for allowing me to join you, spend some time together to honor all of our veterans, all of our heroes, and certainly to remember our fallen heroes. I'm thankful to be asked by the City of Andover to be a part of this ceremony, and I congratulate the city and its residents, including my own family, for dedicating such a beautiful and worthy monument. I'm always honored to speak on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, but it is especially humbling to stand here today and to speak about the many American heroes that we honor on this special day and at this solemn new site. This is the kind of event, quite honestly, that I appreciate, because this is the kind of event that inspires me. It inspires me because I admire our veterans, always have. I love this country, and we must never forget those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. At its core, today is about honoring, and it's about remembering. And we remember all of our troops who serve and all of those who have lost their lives in service to our great nation. Their service, sacrifice, and as you heard, isolation from family, sometimes while storming the gates of hell, simply cannot be forgotten. Today, we gather with purpose at this beautiful new site to remember our military heroes who serve and those who gave up all of their tomorrows so that we could enjoy ours, just like today, in freedom. We gather to reflect on their service and sacrifice as our beautiful flag flies overhead. It has been said that our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each serviceman who has died. It's the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it. And I think that's pretty powerful. The heroes that we have lost are forever in our hearts, and it matters not the type of uniform they wore, but the content of their heart, their commitment to honor, to service, and to duty, and their dedication to country, and their pledge to protect freedom even at the cost of their own lives. We focus not on how these heroes died, but how they lived, because that is what made them heroes, and a hero remembered never dies. We also remember our POWs and MIAs. Today we remember them all, and we must never forget. Today also reminds me personally to always be grateful for every man and woman who have ever served or are currently serving, for they all have made a sacrifice on our behalf. And like many of you, I understand sacrifice. I've lost friends and partners, brothers and sisters in the military and law enforcement communities that have made the ultimate sacrifice while doing their duty on behalf of and in service to others. We who gather here today understand that freedom is never free. The cost of that freedom has been paid with the blood and the lives of the men and the women of our military. We remember their sacrifice, and in remembering, we give honor to those servicemen and women who, like all of us, were someone's sons and daughters, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, fathers, and mothers. And because they have honored us by defending our nation's principles, then we owe them the honor of recognizing their sacrifice. By bestowing honor on the sacrifice of those servicemen and women, we provide ourselves not only a sense of who they were, but a sense of who we are and who we will become as a nation. A key component of our nation's greatness lies in our ability to honor, appreciate, and cherish through our actions and our memories, all those who died to ensure our freedom. They are the true American heroes. Today, I would also hope that we assert our commitment to a stronger tomorrow. The actions of those who have come before us have allowed each of us an opportunity to make a positive impact on our communities. It is what we do with that opportunity that will define us and create our own legacy, a legacy that could impact us all and maybe for generations to come. Don't ignore those opportunities to do good, to make a difference. It's never too late, and no act is too small. Your legacy can be a tribute to our heroes who serve every day and those who have fallen. A couple of months ago, I was reminded of why these days, these memorials, and these moments must remain central to our culture. My wife and I were privileged to spend hours walking around Arlington National Cemetery. We stood amongst the grave markers for some of the greatest people to ever live. And as we read inscriptions and heard powerful stories from history, my heart ached as I comprehended, or at least tried to comprehend, the sacrifice of our heroes and their deep love of country. And it aches today as I consider the sacrifice that those families continue to endure. We owe them all a commitment to earn this freedom that they have granted us every single day. President John F. Kennedy said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter the words, but to live by them." Today it is my prayer that your example would be followed, that we would heal together, and all begin to truly embrace what it could mean to go beyond uttering the words and realize what it means to become one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. But this doesn't just happen. It takes action. General Douglas MacArthur told us that no man is entitled to the blessings of freedom unless he be vigilant in its preservation. And I'd like to say a personal thank you to any of our veterans gathered here today. Thank you for your vigilance. Thank you for your vigilance in preserving a way of life and the freedom that I have always known. And I'd like to say thank you to the family members of those that have served and those who are now gone, for you pay a very high price for our freedoms. I say again, freedom is never free. The heroes we have lost that we honor today and those that continue to serve are forever in our hearts and now forever remembered by the citizens of Andover. Today we remember them and their sacrifice, and we must ensure that future generations understand with clarity the significance of monuments like this and of moments like this one. President Ronald Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We did not pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or, one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men and women were free." I think those are powerful words as well. You see, our founding fathers and those who have laid down that foundation of excellence for us wanted to create and sustain a country free from oppression, in which every citizen could possess life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they understood that it would require hard work, commitment, and sacrifice. They also understood that when you brought that combination of effort to the table and asked for God's blessing on it, that you could become unstoppable. However, at some point, we lost our way. We've decided that hard work is for someone else, and sacrifice is inconvenient. We've decided that God is only allowed in our lives on Sunday mornings, if at all. And I can tell you what that change of philosophy has created, because sadly, my team gets to see an array of evil attacks on our families and across all of our communities every single day. Our efforts matter. Our actions matter. And what we honor matters. Today, I thank you again for being here as we come together to reflect on the warning of President Reagan, to stand up for what is right, to show our support for our military heroes, and to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, ultimately allowing us to be able to be here today. We must continue to stand together and push back on those who would divide us. As a nation, we are made up of many different races, cultures, and backgrounds. This diversity is the foundation of our nation, and it is what makes us great. But however different we may be, when we are attacked, we will all bleed red, white, and blue. And yes, it is only united that we will stand as a nation, and it is only together that we will build our communities up. United we will succeed, but divided we will fail. Make no mistake. Don't let our veterans and those fallen heroes' sacrifices be in vain. Don't let us fail. It is tragic enough that we would fail our communities, but we would also fail future generations in such a way that our streets would take decades to recover, if we ever did. So as we honor our veterans and as we honor our fallen, may their sacrifice and service not be in vain. Let's focus on the potential of our collective future and not the divisive failures of our past. Jesus told us in John 15:13 that greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Our military heroes do just that for each and every one of us. Thank you to the Andover leadership and elected officials for recognizing the need for a site like this to honor, to reflect, and to remember. May God hold close all of our fallen heroes, all of our veterans that we honor today, and may God grant peace to the families of our heroes who have been left behind. And may God bless and protect each one of you and your families, and may God continue to guide us, to heal us, and to bless our United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Stewart, for those powerful, powerful words. Thank you so much. Our next two speakers do so much for our community and so much hard work to help give us the things that we have in Andover. And I want to introduce them as well and allow them to share a few words. First off, we have State Representative Peggy Scott.
Well, thank you for being here today. It's a beautiful spring morning and on a Saturday, and many of you could be doing a dozen other things. So thank you for joining us here today to dedicate this important memorial. And thank you, Sheriff Stewart. We're so thankful for your dedicated and excellent service to our community. And I know that we all wish you and your family the very best in your retirement. You've served us well. I'd also like to thank former City Councilman Mike Knight for his vision and leadership to create a Veterans Memorial in Andover, to honor the members of our community who valiantly served our great nation, giving the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you to the VFW of Coon Rapids, our military branches, and the Anoka County Emergency Management, who are all represented here today. I'd also like to thank our veterans, of course, our first responders, law enforcement, and their families who are with us. And to our Gold Star families, I hope this memorial will be a place of solace and comfort for you. You know more than anyone else gathered here today the true meaning of freedom is not free. May you always know the love and respect of a grateful nation, state, and community. As I was preparing my thoughts for you today, I thought of all the ways we honor our veterans, with holidays, of course, parades, and memorials like this one. And they all are ways that our community can come together and remember the men and women who have sacrificed so much. But one of my favorite ways is through music. And one song that came to mind is Sergeant Mackenzie. It's not maybe one of the most well-known songs, but it has a deep meaning. If you know the movie We Were Soldiers, you will remember the song. The lyrics are from a lament written by Joseph Kilna Mackenzie, the great-grandson of World War I soldier Sergeant Charles Mackenzie. Sergeant Charles Stewart Mackenzie went to fight in France during World War I and was shot in the shoulder. The military sent him home to Scotland for treatment, where the surgeon wanted to amputate his arm. Sergeant Mackenzie refused, stating that he had to go back to his men. His last picture with him in uniform was taken on the steps of the hospital. This picture hung in his home above the fireplace. Upon his return to the front, he and his men were engaged in fixed bayonet battle. The composer, the great-grandson, says in an interview, To the best of my knowledge and taken from reports of the returning soldiers, one of my great-grandfather's closest friends fell, badly wounded. Charles stood his ground and fought until he was overcome and died from bayonet wounds. On that day, my great-grandmother and my grandmother were sitting at the fire when the picture fell from the wall. My great-grandmother looked and said to my grandmother, "Oh, my Bonnie, Charlie's dead." Sure enough, a few days passed, and the local policeman brought the news that Sergeant Charles Stewart Mackenzie had been killed in action. This same picture now hangs above my fireplace, the composer of the song. He continues, "A few years back, my wife Christine died of cancer, and in my grief, I looked at his picture to ask what gave him the strength to go on. It was then, in my mind, that I saw him lying on the field and wondered what his final thoughts were. The words and music just appeared in my head. I believe the men and women like yourself who are prepared to stand their ground for their family, their friends, and for their country deserve to be remembered, respected, and honored. Sergeant Mackenzie, the song, is my very small tribute to them. The song goes, lay me down in the cold, cold ground, where before many more have gone. When they come, I will stand my ground. Stand my ground, I'll not be afraid. Thoughts of home take away my fear. Sweat and blood hide my veil of tears. Once a year, say a prayer for me. Close your eyes and remember me. Never more shall I see the sun, for I fell to a German's gun." Nowadays, we do not take the time to honor our veterans as we rightfully should. We should do more than say a prayer once a year, as the song says. A veterans memorial is a permanent, physical reminder of the sacrifices of those who lost their lives fighting to defend our freedoms. I challenge everyone here to say a prayer for our veterans every time you pass this memorial. Let's honor their memory and never forget their service to our grateful nation. God bless all who have given the ultimate sacrifice, and God bless those left behind.
Thank you, Representative Scott, for that story. It's amazing what our veterans have gone through, and sometimes how their story just ends and it never gets told again. And it's so great to hear that this song was done and we can honor it, which is why we have our wall as well. Our last speaker here for this afternoon is our state senator, Jim Abler.
Wow, this is just phenomenal. That song, the way you sang, just phenomenal. In a city that's proud to say we love the flag, and when the national anthem comes, we proudly stand. Phenomenal. And it's made my honor to represent Andover, and it's easy, because you're phenomenal. The men and women here, the people that did the gun salute, how could you just not burst your buttons with pride for what we are and what we have been about? This is my dad, Jim Abler, Lieutenant J.G. Jim Abler. He served in the World War II. He was a Hellcat pilot off a carrier at the age of 18. Couldn't wait to sign up and go, and he was so proud. I'm not sure at the age of 18 he realized he was signing a blank check. And the people who serve, and I hope you know that, you just don't know what the future is. He got to live to the age of 97, but some of his friends didn't. He was on the, whatever you call that little thing on the side of the carrier where you can go out and smoke, and which is a bad idea, children. Don't be, anyway. Everybody smoked back then. The dogs smoked, but But so he's out there having a smoke and went back in, and 10 minutes later, a kamikaze hit that deck and killed some of his friends. I don't think he ever quite recovered from that. Although he didn't talk about it. Though those vets never talked. And I want to thank the Vietnam vets, and I'm not going to ask you to stand or anything because you don't even want to, but I want to thank the Vietnam vets for opening up the discussion about how important it is to remember the rest of the blank check, where you come home in one piece, but you're not the same. And there's so many people and so many veterans that just can't take it anymore and find themselves victims of substance abuse and suicide. And my dad didn't know that, but he always made me remember as a start and inspire me with his excitement to fly. He always wore this hat around. Actually, he wore the hat for about the last 20 years since the Vietnam guys made it cool to be a vet. They had a thing at the Capitol. They gave him a little medal. And it was an amazing thing. There's a memorial down there, and the more the better. He wore his wings with pride. And every place he went, he would wear it. And so this hat, and when they would have the little things and it'd stand up for the Marines and the Navy, he'd stand up and he proudly, the whole way through. And then he got old, and he was kind of done. And for the last year, he said, I'm not going to be seeing you much longer. And the next day came, and anyway, so he wanted to sleep his way into heaven. And he did. And the last 4 days, and then he passed away, of all days, last Veterans Day, which I think is so cool for me and for him. But now, I can never forget the day. And then the men and women came and they did their salute and gave my mom this flag. And because it was cold and they really didn't want to shoot the guns in the church, which I didn't know why they wouldn't want to do that. So they stood outside, and we didn't want to go outside. It was cold anyway. But they shot the guns outside, and it was muffled. And it was the most profound moment. And they do a great program. They just talk about the flag, and you just burst with pride. And the muffled sound and the muted memory and the memory of a blank check. And some of the men and women never got a chance to have that opportunity to live out your life. And I pray that nobody has to get that check cashed. But I'm so proud to be a part of a community where so many people and part of a state and a country that remembers that this still is way cool. And we're not perfect, but we're way cool, we care. And I just want to thank you again for everybody like my dad, who made a difference for me to enjoy the freedom to come and talk to you today. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Abler. One of the things I do want to say about our local senator is he has been a huge proponent over the years of our veterans. And if you're not familiar with a place in Anoka called the Eagle's Nest, make sure you come talk to him about it, because he was one of those leaders that helped make that happen for our veterans who are struggling. In closing, I do want to thank a few people today before we move on to the next section. There are some people here today that made this event possible, that have been working for weeks to get our facilities ready, to get this set up, to get our fire department. And so I want to thank all of them here today. Our event planning committee was made up of a resident, Shelley Menz, and Andover City staff of Danielle Lensmeyer, Kristen Wisniewski, Todd Lindorf, who was a Navy veteran, Jason Baumunk, Girish Uperty, and Dave Berkowitz. Let's give them a round of applause for what they did today. Also, the individuals that were driving the vehicles or directing us, that's some of our public works staff who gave their time to be here today to help make sure this process was smooth. And those individuals are Chris Olson, Jerry Kroll, Tyler Jost, veteran of the Army, and Joe Kutzman. Let's give them a round of applause. Also, a huge thank you to our Andover Fire Department for having the truck, raising the flag, and for doing everything they did today. And also a huge thank you to our sheriff's office for helping get this set up and get this going the way it is today. So thank you to both of you guys. We appreciate it. During our program today, you've probably noticed some of these plaques up here, and I noticed before it started, people were coming up and looking at these. This is the City of Andover's way to honor our veterans. Honor those veterans who grew up here, who moved here, or who have some kind of connection here. If you would like to honor a veteran that has a connection to Andover, at our event luncheon, there's going to be brochures, and you can find out about buying a plaque and having it up here. We currently have 71 individuals that we are honoring. And as you can tell, we can honor hundreds more. And we want to make sure within the next 2 years this is full, so that we never forget those who gave so much to give us what we have today. At the conclusion of the program, we ask everyone to head to our Public Works Maintenance Building. It's the one that is black and white with the garage doors. In there we have refreshments. There's also some food trucks out there. There is a climbing wall. There is a jump house for the kids. I think I saw somebody throwing bean bags. We want to make sure you get there, have some refreshments. Inside that building, these individuals that we are honoring have a poster board and have their picture and a story about them. Some of those stories are going to make you laugh. There's one that is just hilarious. There's some that are going to make you cry of what they gave to allow us to be here today. So please read through them. Read about these individuals. And some of these individuals are even here today. But please take that time. When you're all done reading, one more thing we want to add to our memorial is 2 statues of 2 soldiers, a male soldier and a female soldier. The cost is high. And if you feel moved to give a donation to help us raise that money to have these statues here, we would love it. We are trying to raise about $12,000, I was told, to have those statues here. And so there is a box. If you do feel moved, please give something, and we can have those statues here. If you did not receive a flag and you want a flag, please, on your way back, go ahead and grab one. Just go ahead and take one on the path along. If you need transportation, please wait. We will have the vehicles coming to and from, and they'll take you to the public works area. If you are able to walk, go ahead and do that. But if you do need a ride, be patient. We only have 2 vehicles today, and that holds about 4. So be patient, but we'll get everyone over there for the light refreshments. With that said, I want to do one more round of applause for all of our veterans here today. Last but definitely not least, and I want to say this before we go. On May 21st, 2022, the City of Andover will never forget the veterans who live here, are from here, or have a connection from here by having this memorial. We promise to never forget those that gave and sacrificed their lives for us today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your service, and we look forward to seeing all of you at our Public Works. Have a great day. Thank you.